In this video, we'll create a realistic environment and we'll use this scene as the second level of our shooter game. Here you will go to your browser, search for Unity Asset Store and search for Dream Free Forest Tree and click on Add to my assets. You can also find the link at here on Blackboard. Then in Unity, we're going to go to our scenes folder and we're going to create a new scene. And we'll say scene 2 and go to this scene. So we're going to create terrain and we're going to import the assets. Alright, so we're going to go to Windows and Package Manager. So if you have added the assets here, it should be on your My Assets. So if it is refreshing, you can just load it again and it should show up here. Okay, so we're going to go to the Dream Forest tree, and we're going to import. And here import all of them. And you will see API update required. So just to see, I made a backup. Alright, once it's done, you'll have this window. I'll just close it and also close Package Manager. Okay, so it should be imported here, the assets. So we're going to go to Game Object and 3D Object and Terrain. Okay. And as you can see, the lighting is also not good for this scene. So we're going to go to Window and Rendering Lighting and Generate Lighting. It took longer, so I'll just force stop and I'll just delete this one, create a new plan. Okay, and lighting, generate lighting, and then we should be good. Okay. The reason why it took longer to generate lighting earlier is because we have created a terrain. The terrain is very big, right? So we're going to create a terrain again. Here we go. So now we're going to select the terrain and go to the tools, Reason or terrain, and now we can build some mountains here. Alright, so I finished the terrain map. Okay, and then select the terrain, and here we're going to go to Paint Textures. Okay, and for the texture layer here, so if you click on Edit Terrain Layers and Add Layer, and you should find this layer, Ground 1. Okay, basically this is the assets we have imported. So we have two layers. You can do rock or ground. So this is the basic ground layer. So we can just double click and it will be loaded as the default scene. So if I press F to focus my view on it and then zoom in, so you should be able to see, it's dark soil. Okay, so we can use it as a base layer, and then you can add a layer again, add another layer, and we can add a rock layer, and then you can select the rock layer and paint on top of the first layer. For example, if we want our character to show up at this point, and here we may paint some rocks. Okay, so for here, let's press F key to focus my view here, and then I'm going to create a 3D object, a cube. And for this cube, I'm going to go to the models and I'm going to apply the red material to it, and also I'm going to change the scale to 1.7. Remember, we're going to use it for scale references. So bring it up above the ground. Okay, so we know how big our character will be when we import the character in here. Okay, so now we'll add trees. So select the terrain, and I'm gonna go to here, the pin trees, and edit tree and add tree. So here you can click on this button and look for the tree prefab. However, as you can see, we get a lot of prefabs. It's hard to see where is it. So I will go to the folder Dream Forest Tree, which is the assets we imported. Okay, and go to the tree models folder, and here you should be able to see them. So we have 4 different type of trees, and we have 2 bushes. So here in this, I'll try the first one, the redwood 2, and add, and then select the terrain, and we'll be able to paint. And by default, you're going to paint a lot trees. Okay, so you may lower down the tree density. Okay, and you can increase your brush size. And here I'm going to add tree in the scene. Alright, so now I painted this tree across the scene, and then we can go edit tree, add tree, and we can add a second one, which is the third one here by name, and we can add, and then make sure you're selected, and then we can, with the same setting, we can start to paint. Let me see. Doesn't allow me to paint, so here I'm going to increase the density a little bit. Okay, and then here we're going to add one more. So here we're going to load the 4th one and add, make sure you're selected, and here we can increase the density so we can place more trees inside here. Okay, and then here we're going to add some bushes. So we're going to add tree, and we can add bush 1 and add, and we can start to paint, and make sure you're not paint on the rocks. Okay. Oops. Okay, select that one and paint. And then we'll paint one more bush. So here we're going to add bush 2 to it. And make sure you're selected. And here we can add density. So we'll be able to draw more bushes in here. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the grass. Anytime if you lost target, just press F key to zoom in. Okay, and alright, and here I'm going to select the terrain and I'm going to go to paint details and add detail and add grass. And here I'm going to look for the grass texture in this package. So it should be here. So we have 4, right? Grass plant. So we can start with the first one and double click and add, and we can start to paint. So here's how it looks, the grass. And you're going to repeat this process to paint the grass to the whole map. Then we can edit detail and add second grass texture. And here we can just search grass. And we can add the second one. And select the second one so you'll be able to paint. Here's it. So I don't want to paint it too much, so I can lower down the opacity. So opacity basically is the intensity of my brush, how much grass I want to paint. Alright, so now we're going to select our cube, hit F key to focus my view on it, and drop my main camera in it. And then for main camera, I'm going to zero out its XYZ position value. So it will be moved to here. Right, move it up, and then I can preview the scene and see how it looks. As you can see, the grass is moving. I think the grass is too much, so we can change the value to lower it down, and the tree doesn't move. So here we're gonna select the terrain and go to here, the terrain settings, and down below here we have the wind setting. So this wind setting only affects the grass. Okay, keep in mind, only affect the grass, and we can change the speed, lower it down. So here I'll just try about 0.4, maybe 0.3 actually, and bending I would change it to 0.4. Okay, and size maybe lower it down to 0.4 as well. Okay, so that will lower down the intensity of the animation on the grass. Okay, if you don't like it, you can lower it down more if you want. Okay, and for the trees, what we're going to do is here we're going to go to game object, and we're going to go to 3D object, and we'll create a wind zone. And we can just drop it into the cube and zero out the value, so we'll be able to see it. Here's it. Okay, and we can move it up. Here is it, and then we'll move it out. Okay, so here we go. So with this wind zone, and you can change the setting, the intensity of the wind, and how much you want the tree to bend, which is the turbulence. Okay, so I think the default setting should be good. Right, and then let's import other models. So here we're going to go to the nature models I provided on Blackboard. Okay, and we'll go to the folder. Alright, so here, let's see, we're going to drag the these 4. Going to bring them in here, and just click on fix now if you have a normal map has some issue. And then we can, let's see, we have dropped back 1, so we're going to go to here and drop in our model. Here is it. Okay, and here we're going to create a material. We'll see back 01, and then drop the texture on it. So here actually I'll see back 01M for material. Okay, so I'll drag this material onto the bag. Here is it. You can select it and press F key to focus your view on it. Right now it only have diffuse map, so what I can do is I can select this map, hit Command D to make a duplication. If you're on Mac computer, hit Command D, and on Windows use Control D. And here I'm going to rename it to Bag01 Normal Map, N as normal. Select it, go to its inspector and change the texture type to normal map. And check on create from grayscale. And here click on apply. And then select the material and drop this normal map onto the normal map channel. And here you will see the effect. So basically it creates bumps. And if you think it's too intense, you can lower down the normal map intensity to about 0.5 or 0.25. So you can experiment with it to see the best result. So here I feel a quarter intensity. It looks good. Okay, and then you can duplicate and rotate it and make some randomization for it, and duplicate again, and rotate it, place it here, and get one more and rotate it this way. Okay, and I forgot one thing. Remember, we have talked about mesh collider earlier. So this is a root mesh. We don't have a folder, so this is basically these are the mesh. Okay, so we'll select all 4 of them and add a component and add a mesh collider. So our player will not be able to pass through it. Okay, and then we'll go back to models folder and barrel 01. So we're going to go to barrel 01 and we're going to drop in our barrel, and here I'm going to create a new material and name it barrel 01M for material, and bring the diffuse map on it, and then duplicate this diffuse map, and I'm going to name it N as normal map, and change its texture type to normal map, and create from grayscale and apply, and then select the material and drop the material on it, and I can lower down intensity to about 0.25 or 0.3 and apply it, and let's see how it looks. Oops. Looks fine. Okay, I think it's good. So here we're going to select it and make duplications, and you can rotate it in this way. Okay, and you can duplicate more, and for example we can place it this side, and duplicate one more and put it on top. So you can find your way to place these barrels and make it more interesting in the scene. Okay, and then we'll go to the coffin, and we're going to drop it. I want to make it a little bit scary, so place it here, and as you can see we have to make it bigger, so maybe about 10, too big. About 5 should be good. Yeah, 5 should be good. And then make sure it is above the ground, and we're going to create material for it and apply the texture here and duplicate it And for this one, change it to normal map and apply, and get it onto the material and lower it down to 0.3 and apply the texture. Okay, just want to make it a little bit more scary. And here lantern, we can do it later. So for lantern, we can later on, if we want to place a lantern with a light somewhere, we're going to use it. So here, let's see what else. We can also drop in these two. Alright, so here I added them in, and I made a duplication, place them in the scene. Okay,